We're gonna fix another turd, doo-dah, doo-dah. We're gonna fix another turd on Puddins Fab Shop today. Hey! Today, we're gonna work on blown out muffler Betsy. Just playing, her name's Edna. Today at PFS, we are working on my 1968 International Travelall Resto mod that I built a few years ago, and since putting it on the road, we've worn stuff out, stuff's broke, stuff still needs addressed. Let's get straight into it. Do you or someone you know suffer from floppy column, aka erectile dysfunction? Is your column nice and floppy when it should be solid and firm? Does floppy column syndrome have your nuts nice and loose? Does that floppy column just not perform like it used to? Well, boy, do I have great news for you. Puddins pill, medically known as Viagra. You take one of these a day and it'll firm that column right up and she'll perform like she used to. Unfortunately, guys, there's not a magic pill to fix a cheap aftermarket column that's just a piece of crap. Back in the day, it's the only one I could afford is like $100 off of eBay, and it's worked till now. But I hate driving that thing because the column's everywhere. So we're gonna replace that today. I put that column in there. I built the shaft because this is all 2003 Silverado front frame. Let's work on getting this out of here. I'll start with getting our set screws off up here. We're gonna work at getting this shaft out of here. Do not forget our shifter connects to all this as well. Well, it's nice to see that sucker hadn't come loose one bit. Just gonna pull them out where we don't lose them. I got down here 11 millimeter. Interesting choice. Send a little looby-dooby down into that. Slide that joint up. Now the top one should be able to slide in. That whole shaft should come out of there. Guys, it's been a long time since I built all this. So we may have forgot a trick or 12. We'll figure it out. When I put this all together, it was brand new, so it used to come apart and go together quick. But now, that's been rusting some. Well, she moved. That's good. Oh yeah. I'd say it wants to come out of there. Oh yes. I remember I had to build this full shifter setup. It looks like I'd put a heim joint off the actual shifter and then kind of built this little clevis, so to speak, that goes around it. Backside is threaded. And of course the bolt just goes through there. Pull our shifter off. We're gonna have to break into the old tools. These are from when I worked at the factory. The one we need maybe broke. About strip that one. Make sure you get her in there good. That, guys, is our shifter. Whoop, 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 whoop. Now out here, everything other than our cork tape, which y'all know I like to use as a seal. I mean, this stuff's been on there a few years. Looky there, it ain't all dirtied up. I don't think it looks bad. And it ain't letting no air in around that sucker, so she did good. And then like this, when you need to get it out of there, it's a little bit of a pain, but it pretty well just pulls right off. The inside our steering wheel's quick release. If y'all don't know, I was building this Travelall on the YouTube channel way before it was ever successful. And this was supposed to be like a family hauler for me. But then as the channel started doing well, this was the only thing I had that was capable of towing, so it quickly became just my tow pig. And the interior obviously never got finished because it just started getting dirtied up, used and abused. We've towed our box trucks back from Texas with it. We've traveled all over in her. We've got 2 brackets there. Looks like we've got 2 bolts. We've got our brake light switch kind of in the way to worry about. Ooh, that's riding a fine line of shorting out, ain't it? One zip tie to keep the wires from flopping. And 2 more bolts down there. Take my pocket pliers. Luckily for me, that's gonna spin, so we're gonna have to put a backer on it, which is not easy. There's a lot of stuff tucked up underneath here, including the computer right in the way. Maybe we'll just loosen up the stuff and slip her on out of there. Here she comes, Johnny. She's free. She is free. Now, as I said, cheap eBay column. Nothing wrong with this if it's all you can afford and it gets you on the road. Just expect it to be loose and floppy, especially with a tilt. However, if you just want a straight one that's not a tilt, that's all I put in here was a cheap eBay chrome one, and it's been fine. As far as it ain't loosey-goosey, the blinker switch is absolutely terrible though. So for this build, guys, nothing about it's really international anymore. Basically the body, everything else of it, well, it's got 3/4 of the original, no, it don't even have 3/4 of the original chassis. It's got the original, well, that don't make sense neither. I'll just hush up. None of it's hardly international. So when I put that front end on there to get the steering I wanted, for me, it just made sense to run an aftermarket column. Factory columns are way better. For the international stuff though, kind of hen's teeth on getting parts on some of it. Mine had a bad blinker switch, so we just swapped her out. Well, I'm finally ready to upgrade, and this is the first nicer, so to speak, aftermarket column I've ever tried in my life. So this is a first for me. I don't remember much about it. I think I tried to order it to be exactly a replacement for a cheap one as far as the shifter, the size of the output shaft, the length of it. This is a I did it column, and I was between it and one of the other ones, Flaming River or whatever, one of the name brand ones is supposed to be. I purchased this close to a year ago. I've just been gathering parts for the Travelall. Let's see if this is indeed gonna just go right back into place. So quick look here. Oh, that wire came out. Wonder if that just happened. Looking at that, we've got GM style, which is pretty common on aftermarket columns because a lot of aftermarket harnesses use the GM style adapter or whatever. Oh, output shaft definitely smaller. Looky there. Looking at that, the steering wheel's definitely going to be closer to me now because that's a little thicker. But if we go from the bottom, whoo, she's shorter as a whole. That ain't going to stick through the damn firewall. These are supposed to be the same length as each other. And if we slide it back there, they are the same length as each other. They just are built different where this probably ain't going to work. It's supposed to be a 28-inch column, about 28 1/4. This one, exact same length, about 28 1/4. Just proportion different. And my favorite part, that's even a bigger diameter. Thick mama. Apparently I gasketed that with something as well. Yeah, I did. That's an entire piece of mud flap right there. A rubber gasket on the back side. And then our sound deadener from the other side was sticking to it. You start building a hot rod, a street rod, or an oddball like what I was building on this, and you just got to make everything work yourself. This was just a universal kit, or from like a Camaro or something, and I cut up that Travelall brackets and made them work with this. A kit at the time was not available. Funny enough, shortly after I did that and made a video showing how to do that yourself, there's a company that now sells them, and what they make looks awful similar to what I figured out on there. Y'all are welcome. You can now buy it as a kit. With that off there, let's try to slip this in there, and I still don't have a good feeling about this. You see my first favorite part or my second favorite part? First one? First favorite part is that's definitely not going to stick through enough. That's about as far as it can go. Second favorite part? Oh, just that as I kind of shoved up like that where it needs to go, I heard this thing pop. Now this really nice, supposed to be expensive column, I guess that just broke. We're off to a solid start. Parts suck nowadays, guys. Don't matter which parts you're getting. Cheap one, it ain't broke. This is supposed to be the good one. Well, you always get that Chinese crap off eBay. Get the expensive stuff. It'll break too. So just so you know, what I can tell is our cheap eBay column, that 28 inches works. If we wanted this expensive one to work, we should have got a 30-inch one where the length of the shaft would have been another 2 inches out. We probably would have been fine. There's zero chance of me returning this as it's been too long. I don't have any of the boxing. I don't have nothing. And this one-for-one swap I was kind of hoping for, well, she just got a little more complicated. I think we're about to try to modify this to make it fit. This shaft's longer, so we may have to modify that. If we don't, that joint's just gonna have to go further back. So then our other steering shaft, it's gonna have to get modified. And I was even hoping this would swap over, but from those being different diameters, this pattern don't even line up to that. Yes, none of it's gonna work. Bottom of there to bottom of there, 19 inches. This one, 17 5/8. That means if we took 1 3/8 inches off of here and slid that back, that then we'd have 19 inches to match. Luckily, this is just gonna come right off since it broke. Oh, except for that wiring. Dang it. It's tight, but it'll slip off there. Now, how do I plan to reattach that once we cut it? No clue. We'll set our calipers to 1 inch, get to 3, then we're going 7/5. That is our 1 3/8 inches. You know what? Hold on, because that starts to taper down. Once we cut past that, that's gonna slip in there some. Well, there's stuff that's gonna hit, so it ain't gonna slip too much. Let's take this down just a hair below. Let's just go 1.3. Nah, let's go 1.25 inches. Do a little scratch around there and it describes it where we know where to cut. Safety first. I know my favorite part of doing that was seeing those sparks coming. Mild steel, that's a good thing. Now we got a way to reattach it. We can weld it. When it was flopping around on there, the way where it broke, I thought it may have just been some of that cheap like cast stuff. I wasn't sure. Quick little trim up and deburr. Oh, that kind of slips on there. See, that piece right there is what I was, that's part of the shifter, so that probably can't rub. All right. Oh, that whole thing spins with the shifter. Okay, so that is okay. Yeah, because this will be attached to that side, so that'll be fine. So since we're gonna rub that, would probably definitely want to try to get something attached right there, and then we could square up off of it. Boy howdy, right at 19 inches. Dang it, roadblock. I was really excited about how easy that was gonna work out until I thought about it and went, that may be mild steel, but that probably is not. And no, it is not. So I think that was actually glued up in there. Looking in there, I can see a little edge and it looks like there's just some glue. However, that's mild steel. So I guess we could kind of float it there where it needs to be. And then we can weld it on this side. And then we don't have to worry about, as the shifter turns, this rubbing our wires anymore, because with that pulled back, I was kind of concerned about that. And then we can even butt this up tight against the dash because we don't got to worry about it spinning on the dash. And because we slid that back, that's already bare metal right there ready to weld. Problem solved. Now I've set that so it ain't rubbing the part of the shifter. I have to redo that because I didn't get that side tucked up in there. So it's got to be offset, but it can't rub that shifter. That may flex enough I can pop her in there. Or not. Oh, because that's where the shifter's at. Since that kind of sticks out, I'm going to shove down on that and try to oblong that. Or maybe it can help clear that some. Don't seem to rub. Clamp used to have a big old dowel that stuck up. Sat right there and pointed straight up off this big old chunk of metal. In my old column, it came with one hole, but then I had to add a different hole or something. I don't remember. No, I added both them. They look like crap. And in theory, that's just to keep that from rotating, to locate it, whatever. We're gonna be lucky if this even fits in those clamps, because that's a bigger diameter. And if we do get it in there and we get the bolts tightened down, it ain't gonna spin. Nothing quite feels as good as a bunch of metal shards in your back. Guys, that one bolt I've been trying to avoid doing because it's an absolute pain to get to. I'm gonna have to loose it down because this clamp is not fitting this one. Nice. I can't believe that bent it that good. We got 4 bolts in that. Got those ran down. Got these ones as far as they'll go. Promise you she ain't gonna spin. Get her harness plugged in. Make sure she clipped. She's good. I don't have as much slack, so we ain't got to zip tie that one. All that buttoned up. I'm gonna pop us a new fuse in. I tightened up our brake switch, and earlier I did pop that fuse from getting a socket in there. Well, she's clamped in, guys. And looking up here, that don't look bad. I mean, you can tell that it's been modified if you know to lean in there and look close for it. But if you just popped your head in from over here, you wouldn't know any different. One thing I'm not a fan of, that's not threaded. So it looks like that just slips on and we got a set screw. I'm just not a fan of these little billet knobs and stuff, guys. You'll never see me really run the stuff like on the door latches and these little knobs and stuff. Just not my thing. These ones look better, at least because they're black. At least with this truck. I guess I'm just now noticing that this don't have the indicator up here to show you what gear you're in. Not that I really care. I guess I'm just surprised. I figured it'd have it. We got our hazard switch right down there. Thread that in. Guys, I'm really excited about this. And I really hope this blinker switch works good. That's my least favorite thing about the aftermarket columns is you turn on your blinker, you turn, you go, you straighten up, it don't kill the blinker, and then I drive about 30 miles looking like a jackass. Got our tilt lever. And guys, I'm actually really happy with how this just worked out because I really didn't want that column shoved closer to me. So I didn't want to have to modify everything. But if this is going to end up working and it actually gets the column hugging the dash closer, I'm not mad about it. That's kind of cheap too. Not impressed with that. Just comes with a sheet metal screw. I'm assuming for in there on our blinker switch. Even though this is in the way. These are supposed to be nice high-end columns. You'd expect that to be threaded and have a machine screw, not a damn sheet metal screw. Apparently we got to remove that to install it anyhow. Yeah, get out of my way. I ended up putting my own screw in there because that big flathead one they sent would have hit that plastic and then that would have been floppy. It wouldn't have actually been able to tighten up, I don't believe. Oh, and I guess that actually spins on there. And I just now noticed the relief right there, so we probably could have just spun that around. No need to pop this, which sucks because that thing's got some tension on it. Because of that heavy duty spring right there. Had to modify my locking plate puller here. This is usually straighter. I pinched them because it wasn't going to touch that. And I'm just hoping we don't break this. I really wish I wouldn't have pulled that snap ring off there. It's right about there, but because that's on there crooked, we can't get it in there. We may be able to get the back started, then reposition. No, we're hitting our puller. Close. Oh, I think she just started. Yes, sir. Shoo. I think we got her, guys. They had me a little nervous. Get our tool off there. Yeah, next time maybe just spin that sucker right there out of her way. There she went. She wasn't all the way in. This side was still popped out. She's in there now. Follow me for more tips on how to create entirely too much work for yourself. And I'm sure y'all noticed the old column was painted brown to match her dash, and the new one is not. And that's because I decided with the gauges being black, knobs being black, that everything being black is going to look just fine. And since it is a GM style, I had just purchased us a pretty plain Jane black steering wheel. The nice thing about the reproduction ones are you don't got to worry about painting them and all that. And that column and the steering wheel, I just kind of searched for them throughout the year last year, and I found that column on sale at one point and saved like $100-something bucks. And I bought this one when it was on sale too. The stuff's still pricey compared to the cheapo stuff, but it's still nice when you can knock off $100 or so. Just a super simple steering wheel. So this will bolt on. We're not gonna tighten it down now. For a little simple. Whoa! Scratch her up. Scratch up the new cap. Help it match everything else. I think that's gonna look nice. We'll worry about tightening it down once we get everything else hooked up and aligned. We gotta enlarge this hole so it can go back on there as our cover plate. That tool right there, our carbide, underrated tool in the shop, guys. I use mine literally weekly for something. If you don't have you one and you're always modifying something, I bet you use it more than you think you would. I keep that cork tape in stock just because of little special stuff like this. You want to try to cut you a piece of rubber and fit it in there and clamp it in and blah, 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 by all means. But look how quick and easy this is. Just shove it into that crack. It'll seal it up good. It ain't gonna leak no air. And as y'all seen, it can sit on there for 3 or 4 years, and if you need to take it off there, well, it just comes right off. And it don't even look bad from here. Damn genius, I tell you. Looking at our shifter setup, we're basically just gonna have to redo this entire piece. I looked at the 4 holes we used and the 4 holes on this, and the way that little tang's hanging out there is indexed different, so we can't really reference off this unless we want to drill new holes in that. And don't nobody want to do that around here. I made sure our shifter is up in park. Then our lever to our transmission linkage, I pulled it up to make sure it's in park. And we can't get back in there because of our booster, so we actually got to be floating out in here. We don't want to come too far this way, or we're going to start rubbing on our inner fender well, which no one wants to listen to. Hey, I wonder if that's that squeak I'm hearing. Boy, that's terrible. I bet that's the squeak I'm hearing going down the road. What y'all want to bet? So we kind of need her somewhere out in there-ish. Let's break that to get her away from the booster thingy-majigger. And it looks like we could either trim some of that off, or we can just clock it to right there. This is where I've got to weigh some options. All right, let's say we leave her right there. Let's take Squeaky Joe right there. That's kind of a little higher. It would be better if we were up in there. But like I said, we're gonna have to take some material off then. Either way, this thing's getting cut on. The bad news is, to tune that in, we really need to get a bolt that can thread into here. We need 1/4 28. The good news is, I guess we got an excuse to drive the old S10. Hey, Great Warrior. Are you sore or what? Y'all see those marks on his face? That's because a couple coyotes came across here earlier and someone chased them down into the woods and went to fighting them. Theodore thinks he's protecting his land by running them off. You can tell he's worn out now. So I've got a buddy who's good at removing coyotes, we'll just say it like that, who's going to be on the job soon, because we're suspecting a den nearby because I'm always hearing them. And it was a big old male and a small female that were kind of trying to lead them away from an area. So we suspect he found their den, and the parents try to get them away from the pet or the pups in there. I didn't think a pit bull would be able to track a scent that good, but he tracked them. And guys, once that kicked in where he locked on, I was yelling his name trying to get him through one ear and out the other. He didn't care. All he cared about was chasing down those coyotes. I'm just glad he came back in one piece. Oh, sleepy dog. Guys, after he came back earlier, he was soaking wet. He'd swim across the creek, going through those woods and everything, come up through that tall grass. It was raining earlier. I mean, he was the wettest I've ever seen him. Blood, a little bit of blood on his face where he got snipped back. There's actually saliva on top of his nose, which is how I know he had actually got bit, and it wasn't just from him running through the brush and stuff. And as soon as he got by my side, he went into defense mode, where he was, you could just tell he was on alert, and he was staying right by my side. And I know in Theo's mind, he's seen those coyotes and thought he's protecting, you know, me, the girls, the property, whatever it was he was thinking. He came back next to me and he was on high alert, making sure nothing got up there close to me. So I just need him to realize that those coyotes ain't gonna come up there and bother me. He's a good dog, but we don't need him chasing packs of coyotes off. If they get really teamed up against him. I don't know how well he'd fare, you know, against the pack. Y'all do remember what he looked like when I got him though, and his whole face was covered in scars. And if you're walking away from the fights with the scars, then you're probably the winner most of the time. Quick trip to the hardware. That right there is what we need. We'll mock up and everything's looking good, so I'm gonna finish trimming this down. Woohoo! Too much crap right there, guys. My light fell, I couldn't see. I think I got a tack on it though. Put us another tack on there. Just because that's all started though, don't mean we're clear. We actually got to cycle it through. That's sticking out at, I think it's hanging off the center point more. So let's see. We may not get through all the gears. Reverse, neutral, park, reverse, neutral, drive. And then this is rubbing a little bit, it feels like, so it's kind of hard to tell if we're getting all the way down to first, but I don't think we are. Those are big throws in between there, and that's because we're sticking out further. So now as we rotate that down out here, it's dropping less than when it was tight right here, I think, if I'm thinking right. Well, that rod shoves on this lever down here, and because I built all this, down here, there's a new hole in 1/2-inch increments. So we can actually try to move it down here, possibly. Depends on how much threads we've got for adjustability, since our length will change. I adjusted it. It didn't change it quite enough, guys. We need this pivot point closer to here. So I'm gonna cut those. I cut it behind where I broke it, and I put a little notch in there, and then I cut that bolt down. That should really suck that in quite a bit. Got our piece on. Still couldn't get it as tucked in as our old one, so I moved us down 2 holes tighter on our lower adjuster. And I just got a feeling, guys. Reverse, neutral, overdrive, third, second, first. There it is, right at the bottom of the shifter. I mean, that's perfect. Make sure it can do it again. Reverse, neutral, drive, third, second, first, second, third, drive, neutral, reverse, park. That's perfect. Yes! That's why what we've got going on here is why during the build it's important to make everything serviceable. Like I said, sure, we're having to adapt it a little bit and make it work, but this could be a lot worse to make it work. Really, this is going easy. I locked down all of our linkage on the bottom side. She's good to go. A little loopy-doobie on that hind joint to fix the squeakity-squeakity. We'll lock this in with a little bit of weld all the way around. She's ready for a little paint. No! It's spraying everywhere. I think they make a pill for that too, kind of like that old floppy column. There we go. A clean tip's a happy tip. One thick coat. And we'll let that set up, and then we're gonna look at our shaft. Hey Ma, Puddin's in the shop staring at his shaft. The steering shaft, y'all know what I meant. That's 1-inch DD down to 3/4 inch DD, I think. So that's gonna slip on there, but now I think everything's gonna be too short. We need it about right there, just based off the amount of shaft I can see. I kind of like it about flush with the bottom there. So I think the steering shaft is now gonna be just an inch or so too short. And also, because we lost some of our slip it may be harder to put that together. This is exactly why I wanted to get straight into the column, because I suspected we may get into predicament here. So really we need something that can slip. What would be perfect for that would be if we had some more 1-inch DD shaft that was hollow, like what's in there, because your 3/4 actually fits inside of that. So we could build a slip shaft basically. To build a slip shaft, I need about 6 inches worth. So I put out a filler to a couple shops around here, hoping, you know, someone's gonna have some in stock. If not, Summit Racing's in Arlington, Texas, I think, and they can usually get stuff here next day or the day after. I was hoping to have this steering by the end of today. I did locate a 2.5-inch piece, but that just ain't quite enough. Got our key on. Let's test our blinkers as we wait. Indicator there. You can see her blinking. Test alrighty. Blankety blankety. Tested our hazards. Those things are flashing real fast. Well, they're trying to work. We don't use hazards anyways. As we wait to hear back, our paint's dry at least. Put our shiny new nut on, and this thing was practically ran all the way down. This little type of stuff can be ornery, guys, but if I can be honest, there's some times where I really enjoy figuring the stuff out. It's just kind of a challenge, I guess. Going back together, got our lock washers on. Yeah. And if you deal with Allen bolts, you're going to want these right there. Those are ballpoint. They work like a uni-wiggler. Then just get you a little socket on that end so you can get some more leverage out of it. Can't beat it. Yeah. Here we go. Now I didn't make sure it went all the way down to first because I really didn't care. I just wanted y'all to be able to see it cycle. So that's together. That's good news. The other good news is my buddy just sent me a picture, and they do have some 1-inch shaft, I do believe. So we're gonna skedaddle. All right, here's what we got. They didn't have the 1-inch, they had 3/4 inch. Slight misunderstanding. However, they had this, which is from the inside of some steering column, I don't know. I think we may be able to make this work, or it may be too long. Too long, unless we can get DD shaft in here and get it plug welded. Well, I wish they would have just flattened that whole thing, because a big piece of that's exactly what we need. Trying to clean that out where that shaft will slide in there. I think there's just a couple burrs, and maybe that had been hit by a hammer or something when they're taking it apart. From what I can tell, we're probably gonna need to cut this somewhere around in here. Might go a hair more, then that'll stick out a little bit. So then we could plug weld, plug weld, plug weld. So it looks like if we hammer that down in there to the top spout right there, we'll be good. Oh, except I'm trying to use this part to guide us. Yeah, see, we gotta leave that because that's what's gonna help hold her true. All right, now our shaft's stuck down in there. Will probably never come out. We're gonna hope that this can be a slip joint for us as well. This is where I'm hoping to get our slip. It looks like from the factory, they plugged that with some plastic. So they crimp that in just a hair, and I don't know if there's something on this, but it keeps that from coming out. I want to drive that out because we need to be able to slip our shaft up in there. The good news is, as you can see, I'm able to drive this back out. Grind you a little flat spot. If I was a smart man, I would have drilled those holes up there because that's going to line it in there. So that hole's gonna be a lot closer than these ones on the side. So I drilled us another set. Now we just need to slide that in until we get past all that. Time for some plug welds. And a couple will suffice, probably. I guess since we're here, 6 will do. (16 3/8). I'd measured from here up to what we needed to reach that other coupler over there. So if we just imagine this is going to slip inside of this, we need that engaged right there. So I think we're pretty good on probably cutting the shaft right here. So as that slips up, that can slip up and not hit our shaft that's already welded in there. So we're going to cut that right there. And then for our 16 3/8, that's the butt up. So we'll go about 16 1/4, which is going to allow us a little play. And that is right there. Taper your edges. We'll cut that goofy end off. I marked our mark with a piece of tape. Now we've got to cut this outside shaft, but not cut the inside shaft. Hey-o! Now for our coupler right here, we need right at 15/16 of an inch of this. Let me just mark her at 1 inch. So, if you've been confused on what I'm doing, here's what's going on. We know that'll go on the steering column side of things. Now this will go right into there. In our existing shaft, since it'll slip up in here, now look at that. That can slide all the way up in. So hopefully that goes up, and then we can slide it down on our column over there like we need it. Well, there she is, guys. That works perfect. Now that whole thing is engaged where we've got good engagement. It's gonna work. So primer, then you want a painter. When I get this painted, we'll let it sit overnight, guys. We're gonna go see Grandma at the hospital. We're still taking any and all prayers y'all have for Grandma. We'll be back on her in the morning, guys. Morning, party people. I started off by just throwing everything together. I was gonna show it complete. And then I tried to steer it. And as I steered it, it shifted it. You do not want your steering wheel to downshift you when you're going down the road, guys. I wish I would have shown it. I spun that and something grabbed the shifter and pulled the shifter down too. So I just disconnected everything on the outside, and as you can see, that's perfectly fine. That actually makes me happy because I thought something internal was catching up here. You can obviously feel it catching. If it's not doing it internally, which it shouldn't have been because we didn't mess with any of that, there's only one other place where that center shaft spins and then the mechanism for the shifter is, and that's right here at the firewall. So all I can assume is that U-joint coupler thingy, I had it slid so far back that maybe the screws that were part of that shifter linkage that rotates was starting to rub it some. So I'm gonna put this back together, making sure we've got adequate distance right there. Good news, as we go back together, I found the rub right there. And it was rubbing where I could pull it past it, but it would just kind of catch, and sometimes not as much as other, but that's definitely where it was rubbing. So I'm sure it was rubbing one of our jam nuts, or set screws I mean, because that was new. We hadn't used. So I'm sure it was rubbing one of these jam nuts. This is definitely the one that's been rubbing it, so I'm gonna shave this down a hair. All right, guys, she's buttoned up. Slick showed up right at the right time. She's clear now. We're good to go. He showed up at the right time because one of my other pet peeves of this Travelall is back in my drinking days, one day someone may have drank too many and was in his tow roller not paying attention and just backed up. And he may have found this fender with the back of that car. I I don't know if that's when that got broke or if that was already cracked and it finally just flopped coming off the road. But
you got another one of these? I thought you did.
Oh yeah, I've got some more of these we're gonna put on. This one, these were already in bad shape, but I didn't help it none.
Yeah, if you got that other one, let me have it as well.
So I've gathered some of the missing parts for this, and in fact, I was trying to experiment. These ones are pretty decent shape. I'd found them, a guy had them online. The inserts are painted black, which I'm not a fan of. Take your very fancy dustpan, fill it full of the lacquer thinner, and just slowly rotate that around there like I've been doing this morning. And that stuff should be ready to peel off. My phone's gonna blow up all day today because someone's turning 34, and everyone's got to tell you happy birthday. So you can fight that if you want. But look at that, 20 minutes of soak time and some lacquer thinner. Take a layer right off. Polish her hard enough you can get down to the middle. That's what we want to see. We'll let that bezel continue to soak, or we don't got to fight it one bit. I'm very excited about fixing this damage because that just looks terrible. When you walk up excited to drive this, but then I got to see that every time I get into it. And especially knowing it's my fault. Ooh. I wonder what it actually takes to get these fenders off, because I don't think I've ever disconnected this fender from this core support. This whole front area, I think I've always had it connected. You know, if that jack's a chirping, a puddins a working. Got the long shanks on that one. Yeah! Ah, I see. They look like they're a through bolt with a nut, which will make removing them a lot easier. For some reason in my head, they were just gonna be going into a nut plate that was welded, which would make it difficult. Nut came off. That don't mean the bolt wants to come out. It's crazy to think these bolts were installed in 1966 or 7. You can tell it's original International because of all the fine threads. That's all they used. And some of these bolts, let's see. Yep, is it on there? Some of these bolts actually have the IH on the head of them too. Dang it, we're gonna have to do it caveman style and get another wrench. Now, I'd sprayed an undercoating on all this, and I was worried that was gonna make these coming off here kind of a pain. But it really don't seem to be affecting it, which makes us happy. At least this one we can get a ratchet and wrench on. Step up from being a total caveman. And I think we're all free, except there's one right in here. I can't get the dang thing. I think we're gonna have to cut it. Now, it may not be the prettiest thing, but instead of cutting the bolt, I just cut a piece of that lip off where we can actually get something on the bolt. And now we can remove it, and then we'll be able to put it back in. There's just no way to get anything on the head of that sucker. We can get her now, though. There we go. We had a bolt stuck. In fact, somewhere up in here. Oh, don't. There's another. Oh, I got the one way up there. There's one more. International didn't want these fenders falling off. That's for damn sure. Some of them will fight you. Some of them will come off, come right out like nothing. All right, that last bolt. No nut on it, just the bolt. I can't get it to drop. It was right there. That's what had us. Well, once you get all the hardware, she'll literally fall right off. That's nice. No wiggling it in or out or really fighting it that away. Oh, poor old Edna. Don't forget your earmuffs if you're gonna whoop on metal. Let's go see if Slick can fix us up. Whoa, watch out for the puddle. It's been a muddy mess around Oklahoma. Brought our bezel so we can make sure everything up there stays matching. We jamming out or what? Yeah. Smells good in here. What you been doing?
With everything.
It's the body filler. Are you sanding it out?
No. I had my friend here doing it the other day. We'll put it on a stand right here.
Now this one smells good. That's all I care about. So last week on the second channel, if you don't watch the second channel, what you missed was me and Slick ventured out to Ray's where I'd got the wagon from. And Slick can notice this cow buried down in the ground with some other Model A parts all stacked. And this is for a Fatening, where it don't have the built-on post or whatever. And as you can see, Slick's already got that baby sandblasted, along with the back half of a Roadster he got from Mortsky. And you can see what he's kind of starting to picture here. So if you ain't seen that video on the second channel, check it out. And be sure to check out Slick at the OK Speed and Custom. Let's see if we can old whoopity on this thing. Whooper.
Whoop on her? Want me whoop on her?
You want me to?
No.
I bet I would have started with a bigger hammer.
Yeah, you would have dented it worse too. It's got a whiskey dent in it.
Quite literally. I seen that one pop.
Yeah.
It's got that cellulite going on.
Yeah.
So that thing was already hit where it's rested there. I just hit it worse. Then I'm rough on stuff because that crease right there is where I had overextended the door into it. Poor Travelall. Slick took his fancy radius gauge and kind of checked on it, and the 36 is the closest to this. So that's the 36 right there. It's got crown to it that matches that gauge. It looks kind of flat.
Put it on that 36, it'll match.
Can't even see it by eyeball. That thing looks flat as can be to me, but y'all see how it's got that shape to it? Same curve. So obviously that helps him be able to, you know, put this into that, which we know matches that pretty close from the factory.
Now I'll put this is flat.
Boy, I better quit trusting my eagle eye. I tell you that much. They're both flat. I'm looking at them both.
Now I'll put that one on 36.
Boy, there's just a hair of a gap between there. That's hard to see, but that small difference is why we're here seeing Slick trying to get this looking good. Because if I had one of my flat ones smacking on it, it ain't gonna be helping it none. Gotta keep them cool. I don't know what to do besides stay in here and look pretty.
Hold the fender.
Hold the fender and shut up. He just keeps working spots out, guys. I mean, look at that thing already. Just knocking out all the obvious spots. We still got a little bit of lows here or there he's working on, but that already looks 100 times better than it did. He's gonna keep tuning her in, but I just told him, I said, if I was looking through someone's scrap pile and they had a fender in that good a shape, especially color matching, I'd run that, not even being upset on a patina build. He's a metal whisperer.
It's got a crease right there, that's kind of wrong.
Yeah, I don't know who creased it. It was me, I creased it. That crease? Luckily, I was real nice and carried that crease into the body line.
Yeah, we just connected it with the body line. Stand by.
Need a jump start? You got your compressor on a bicycle every 5 minutes. You got to go in there and ride it.
Ride it, yeah. We got a little rat in there that runs it for me.
Whipping them. Back to work.
We need more air. Let it build up.
Slick's going to run her through the hammer, help smooth out some more of that. Unfortunately, guys, our trim finished coming off. I was worried about that. It was already trying to come off. So that's a two-sided sticky tape I'd put in there apparently back in the day. And this one had been broke, totally missing, so I did sticky tape back there.
So that thing's been holding on this whole time with sticky tape?
How you think Randy's trim's on his truck? Dude, that 3M two-sided sticky tape, guys, I swear by it. All the emblems and stuff on the International, they're all, and those aren't even a flat surface, they're cast and all uneven. Yeah. I put that stuff back there, slap them on.
Good to go.
I've tried to pull them off, I can't. The stuff just works.
The more farther we go, the more it's gonna scratch it, so just quit while we're here.
All right, back at the shop. Let's get our next bezel a soaking. Let's clean up behind there. We'll spray her down with some of our sweet patina spray. That's that good stuff right there, baby. With that, we'll take some of our sticky tape remover. Start spraying on that. Yeah, work that stuff up, but once it gets underneath there to that sticky side, oh, it's gonna come off. Oh, along with some of the paint. So let's be careful doing that. It's interesting. That stuff usually don't take paint off. With the fender cleaned up, we can look at our trim. I was serious about the sticky tape until I looked and realized we got a nice channel in there so we can build our own clips again. I have some I'd built for another truck, but they're not quite right, so we'll build some for this one. The main thing is we need access to that. So I'm gonna open up the back side here. I'm gonna try doing that just by grabbing this rolled over edge and flattening it out where we can slide something in there. There you go. Now we can cut some 18 gauge, but I seen that washer in my room over there, and I can tell that's really close to wanting to fit in there. What I mean is I know it'll fit in there. I guess more or less, I don't know if it's gonna be too loose or just right. Those little pieces were bent down. We'll pry up on them. Then look, see how that slides in there? That's what I'm worried about though. We don't want it too loose. That's too much play. That trim can flop all around. What would happen if we squeezed on that? Just like that, just enough to start to oblong it. Make sure it hammers back out flat. It's better. Not as tight as I was hoping though. All right, and look through more stuff, and then I found these ones that I've made. And guys, I think those are about perfect. They're a hair too wide, not much, so we're gonna buzz them down. If you can't tell, that's just a piece of 18 gauge I'd cut into a little square, put a 1/4 through there, welded it on the backside and smooth it out. Lean that against the vise where it takes a little tappity. And check that out, guys. And honestly, I think just 4 of these, since we know these ones are solid and not rusted, or would be fine. I think I'm 1 short. Those ones I found on the ground, apparently they were in a thing of the bolts I'd ended up dropping. It's kind of open. If we looked around right here, we may find 1 more. Yes, my lucky day. What'd you get for your birthday, Puddin'? I found 4 clips I didn't have to make. That's a plus. Those things ain't quit getting hot yet I keep touching them barehanded. The very first one and this last one's a real tight fit, and I like that. That way this thing don't got a lot of flop, and then these 2 middle ones, I gave them a little play where hopefully we can have a little, I don't know, may not make a difference. All right, now our end here, I'm just gonna tap that piece of aluminum down and close it. Hope it don't break. Well, she started to crack, but she didn't full break. We'll take that. Boom, baby, 4 new clips. We're gonna go right here at the very beginning, right back there at the very end. Then we'll probably just go there and just skip one in between there and there. Our new trim's 1/4 inch, so these holes ain't big enough. They are now. Get them started. I was hoping that trim would move along there a lot easier than what it is. Let's put that one where we need it, and then we'll take the rest of that leading edge. There we go, right where we need it. Good time to be caveman and not use power tools and break stuff. Woo! Boy, I think she's locked in. She ain't gonna move nowhere. We get these tightened down. That whole trim its whole life, or since I've had it, I've been able to wiggle it around. Ain't gonna do the wiggle no more, boys. Did y'all see this? They send you a big old sticker for that column. They want you to be proud of it like they are. Did I tell y'all why they named that company? I did it. Because those damn things cost so much that whenever you finally squeeze the trigger like I did, you just sit there like in amazement at the computer like, damn, I did it. I just bought that. I think that's why they named it. There we go, guys. All four are buttoned down. That thing's sitting pretty. You know it's not sitting pretty? Our broken half marker light trim thingy. So I'd posted on the international page trying to find some of these. They're very hard to find, actually. I think they're a 1 or 2 year only. A guy had these ones, which as you can tell, I can't talk unless you also can tell the chrome on these. These things are just rough. But for like 20 bucks, I think I got a pair of them. And when they're impossible to find, that's better than nothing. Then I seen online this one, I believe. No, that's in good shape. This one, which cost me like another 20 bucks, but it looked slightly better than those two. And then I was out at D&H Classics of all places, and I was watching my own video, and one of the trucks we were looking at for door hinges, I noticed in my video it had this one, which is in the best shape out of all these. The only downside to this one is maybe y'all can see it has some glue, because some of these used to have an emblem that would sit in here. In fact, this has the best lens as well. We might as well grab this since we're over here, because we also lost a Travelall emblem. This is metal. Ain't no plastic crap here. Now I'm real lucky and it only got one little pin on it, but this is supposed to go right here. Mine had fell off at some point, and I'd like to get this one back on here, so we also need to figure that out. Travelall restorations, drain pans with lacquer thinner, shop rags soaked in who knows what. Yo, ow, ow, ow. Got a cut on the end of that finger. Ask me, I just found it. Ooh, I put lacquer thinner in it. Gotta be careful of that old lacquer thinner. It don't play no games. I'm not talking about my finger. I'm talking about trying it over here. I was kind of hoping whatever this glue was on here, we could get it off without affecting the plastic chrome. That won't wipe it off. Up next, we're going with our old pal razor blade. Seems to be working where it's thin. You have to be careful where it's thick. Like right in there. All right, it's gonna work. I'll just see y'all in about an hour and a half when I finish getting this cleaned out of here. With our glue off, I sprayed her down with our Get Gone degreaser, and we're just giving this thing a nice little scrub down. I'm gonna try to clean out inside that lens too, because it is pretty nasty in there. I'm gonna fill that full of stuff and just shake it up and then try to blow it out, and hopefully that'll get all the loose stuff. I'm afraid to try to do anything to that lens. Good deal. A lot of that stuff shot out of there brown. It's not so dark now. That piece cleaned up pretty good. Now we just got to worry about those little plastic studs snapping off as we try to attach the hardware. Me? No, I'm not nervous. Oh, that's going quite easy. Between the 12 of them I bought up, there's enough to have 3 nuts, which is nice. That one didn't even feel like it got tight. It snapped. Have y'all heard that pop? That was it snapping. Ah! Shit the bed, Fred. Yeah, I was trying to be easy. I was trying. So it happens when we're dealing with old brittle parts here. If we can do this without breaking the front one, 2 will still hold it good. Putting a piece of that 2-sided sticky tape back here to hopefully just that one edge will get down in it. It didn't seem like it was going to flop too much, so I think we may be able to secure it with this hid behind there. Look at that. That tape already grabbed that little edge right there, so. Whew. I just ran that one down snug by hand, so that's how I'm going to do the front one. That nut's not good. We know this one is, so we'll try it. That front stud must be smaller because neither one of these will tighten down on this one. It just slides all the way down on it. I tapped it with that hammer and it closed those little blades just a hair. So here we go. There we go, that's it. I tapped those closed and I made the fine thread version. Well, how's that, guys? We went from a big dent right here with floppy trim and a piece broke in half to what we got here. I'd say that's a pretty good improvement. Don't worry, Edna, I'm bringing your Fender back better than ever. I'm gonna get us a couple bolts started just to hold it, and then we'll work the front. I imagine it's gonna be a pain, or the biggest pain, because the rest of the stuff's pretty stinking simple. We may have to actually whoop on this piece because it looks flattened out, so it may have got knocked in too. Gaps up here, that all looks good. That looks nice. We better set our bezel up there and check it just in case. There we go, somewhere in there-ish. Honestly, I don't even care if all that fully bolts up back hid behind there. It holds 2 at top, 2 at the bottom. Honestly, that would be more than plenty when we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across the top, and then it's got 2 on the back. Underneath here's working out better than I thought. Pretty well got it all started. Including these ones down through here. All right, let's pop our light in. All right, guys, Fender is fully back on. Everything's tightened down. That looks so much better. Finally have paid you back, old girl. Tearing you up so long ago. I'm sorry. All right, let's see how our bezel does with everything buttoned down. I can see those 2 holes. Got a little bit of a gap back here. Of course, what that's supposed to screw into is missing anyhow. We're gonna have to figure that out. Curious if I can just put a little, just a little. You don't want to crease these things, bend into that. I don't know if y'all can tell, but that gap closed. So we're gonna curve it a little more. This time focusing just on this back side of the bezel more than anything. And she closed a little more. It's not perfect, but I'd say runnable. Damn sure fits better than this one did. It sat on there about like that. I put us a nutsert in that square hole. You can put a round peg in a square hole. We're gonna start it first because it'll probably be hard to start. Woo! Looky there, guys. That as a whole just looks like so much better. Oh my goodness. Got hearts in my eyes. I'm gonna fall back in love with you, old girl. My heart. Why, never. All right, let's look at our other bezel. I figured out how to get the rest of the paint off here. Check this out. Sometimes you just gotta try different stuff, guys, because it's kind of amazing how well the lacquer thinner took off that outside coat, but then it ain't really doing the best of taking that right off. But watch this. Take our carb and choke cleaner again, spray it right on your thumb on accident. Then you can actually spray what you're aiming for. And what the heck? That stuff took the rest of that stuff right off. Make me look like a liar. We're gonna up our scrubbing game to some Scotch-Brite. Watch this. There she goes. Now we don't want to scratch this all up, but we'll let it scratch up that paint and then we'll come back and clean it with the rag. Pop that bezel on. Let's do a little blending here. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I kind of just polished on that half of the grill, because them bezels are definitely polished out more than what my grill is, but I'm not worried about it all being perfect. I've just got some metal gloss polish. This would work better with steel wool, but apparently I'm out. So we'll just take that polish and we're just putting a little more sheen into her. We'll just give her a little scrub in here. This stuff's got some grit in it, so it'll help clean this up real good. Just give her a little pop. Wipe it down with a clean one. And that's about as good as she's gonna get for now, guys. I love it. I'm ready to go test out this new column. Feels weird with a little bit smaller steering wheel. After driving it some, I'll line our steering wheel where I think we're gonna be pretty straight. Let's try, see if we got a good blinker. We're blinking left. Let's see if she'll shut herself off. Come on, come on. Oh, baby! Woo! Makes me happy, let's celebrate! You get used to punching it in the S10 and you'll realize how slow this thing is. This is the first thing I've ever had with an aftermarket column that the blinker switch actually works on. Also, this thing's way tighter. Before, y'all would see my hand and it'd be shaking everywhere. And some people thought the Travelall like had a bad tire or drive shaft or something. Like they're like, dude, something's vibrating on that. Guys, this thing's as smooth as can be. That's how loose and floppy that old column was. In fact, this is the best driving, feeling vehicle that I've built, hands down. None of them can compete with the Travelall as far as how good this thing just hugs the road and what it feels like. Here we go, right blinker test. Perfect. Hell, my blinker switch works. I'm feeling pretty uptown. Guys, I didn't record over here at Aaron's shop, but I'd come over here. The rear AC I'd mentioned, that right now is about 35 degrees. We're gonna start blowing ice out in a minute. Is 35 degrees cold enough? We're gonna make snow cones in a minute. Pick your flavor, boys. So the front's been working, let's test the rear. The rear don't blow near as cold as the front does, but she's still, 48 degrees or so. Oh, she's still dropping. She's still dropping. Let's give her a second. Let's let her think about it. No, that's it. That's it, 44, 43. It's cold enough, guys. So we replaced this valve, nothing fancy to see there. And we charged AC, nothing fancy to see there. The thing was, after a little troubleshooting, I tested the old valve and the old valve was working. It allows some to go through when it wasn't supposed to, just a hair, like a little bit, and you may cycle it a time or two and then it would fully seal it off. So that's why we still replaced it. But the expansion valve was actually plugged up with crap, and there was one fitting inside there that had like rusted, and we think it just made enough trash that it plugged up that expansion valve. So we just blew everything out, put it back together. It's kind of hard to record with two guys crammed in this little area, as you can imagine. And AC work's not exciting to watch anyhow. All that really matters is she's blowing cold, front and rear. Get your snow jackets ready. She hit about 38 degrees back here. Travelall officially has the best AC out of any vehicle I own.
That's pretty damn cool.
That's pretty cool, ain't it? It got to 38 back there. Morning. We're gonna start today. Well, we've already started today. I've been doing a lot of parts running, but with a quick, fast victory to set the mood. Look at this stuff. These International, some of them in the split trim, came with the black, like vinyl looking insert that's textured, as you can see here. And I guess I'd never realized my Travelall was one that had that. It might have been what came on the custom features. We can see pieces of it up in here actually. So this whole split trim would have been filled with this back in her heyday. For us right now, we're just gonna take that off because we're gonna try to get our Travelall emblem to stick on here. The good news is that peels right off. Easy peasy, baby. The bad news is I've been searching. I'm like, where the hell are my mufflers? Mufflers were supposed to be here already. Mufflers are not going to be in today as I was hoping. Did a lot of research and made sure I got coming what I wanted coming, and it ain't going to be here on time as it should have been. Get that wiped down good. So she's going to stay the blown out muffler Betty for now, because the mufflers won't be in for a couple more days. Our emblem here, we're going to spray it down, make sure we get this as clean as possible. Our two-sided sticky tape we're going to use. Those holes that go through there, I don't know how to get to them on the back side. There's a panel back there. So I don't know if these are just supposed to push in and retain in that hole or what. I thought about JB welding us some studs on there, but what we're going to do is stack that sticky tape I love so much. And what I'm hoping is the sticky tape will stick to itself as well as it sticks to everything else. Because that's so deep, I'm having to stack that about 4 layers deep of tape. And I pretty well used it all. This piece of trim's wanting to start to come off. Not all the way though. So we're gonna use that last little bit and hold that. And then for this, at least we get one little thing to guide us where to go. No, don't buckle the quarter. We do want to push that nice and tight. Make sure all those layers stick to each other really good. Oh yeah. Guys, that thing, like the other stuff, it always just rattled and kind of moved around. I think that right there is going to be solid. I don't think she's going anywhere. And that looks so much better having that on there saying Travelall again. Woo! Someone zoom it up. So I've got her up on the lift because we need to address some issues with the rear brake lines, but some of y'all were never here for the early builds of the Travelall. It was way before the channel did well. And to be quite honest, those videos just suck. So let me give you a quick rundown. For one, my motor's leaking somewhere, apparently. But that's not what we're here for. This is a front frame I grafted on here from a 2003 Silverado. So you can see right there where I built the front cross member and all the mounts and everything, put our bumper, make the core support and all that. But suspension wise, all 2003 Silverado, everything's fully rebuilt. Of course, that provided motor mounts for our LS motor. Right here's where it blends from 2003 Silverado to a factory Travelall chassis. Nice thick C-channel is what they came from with the factory. But I went down through here and I boxed every bit of that with 1/8" plate. You can also see I went with some solid mount cross members, all braced and gusseted. This thing is stiff. I almost forgot to show you our quick removable trans cross member right there. Drivetrain fit in here quite nice. There's the rest of our shifter linkage because y'all had already seen the outside stuff. Dual exhaust, nice drive shaft. Come back here. I did a parallel 4-link. As you can see, those mounts go to the rear end, which then has a mount off the rear for a coil spring. Those were from like a 96 Caprice wagon, Impala wagon, whichever one you prefer. Got helper springs inside of there. Of course, not bag mounts, coil spring mounts up off the frame. Cross member, everything is 1/4" thick, including that tubing right there. C-notch up in there. Shocks right there. Made a sway bar from a Jeep, I believe, work. All removable brackets. And guys, this thing, like I said, the best going down the road vehicle I have. Hands down, not even up for discussion. Stuff got really tight back here. We got our fuel tank that has the fuel injection crap in it. We've got the hitch tucked up in there. It was really tight to make everything fit, as you can imagine. Factory rear end. It's a Dana 44 that I converted to be 6-lug because the front was 6-lug. I built the rear disc brake kit, which is why we're having to get in there and do some changes today. That's a 355 posi gear rear end. It's been pretty good to us. This, to me, is my favorite style of build, guys. Most people see my Travelall and they think I lowered a Travelall. Perfect, I nailed it then, if that's all you think happened. Because when you get underneath that, you see everything's very well built. Oh, he don't spend no time or money. He ain't got no skill. Everything's rusty. Rust buckets is all he builds. I've seen underneath half y'all's painted turds, all right? Underneath y'all's, ooh, she looks nice from the outside. Get underneath that, it looks like death underneath there. Looks like damn junkyard up underneath your vehicle. Don't worry about mine rusty and crusty on the outside underneath. She's got a beautiful heart, dang it. We are looking at our brake lines because I've had numerous issues. I've had 2 lines break, the stainless steel ones, and I think they were just because I had cheap lines on there. The most recent one broke when we drove this all the way down to Austin, Texas, and at the car show, I noticed we were starting to lose brakes, and this line here had broke. Luckily, a subscriber came through and brought me one. She's used, and see that? That's already a little kinked, but she got us home and she's been on there since. Here's a great example of the real problem going on. That one's a lot of kinked. And if I'm being honest, I don't understand why it keeps pushing that way and kinking so bad. But that kinks, And then once we cycle the brakes a couple of times, that starts holding pressure in here. And then as we're driving along, this brake is dragging and it gets everything nice and hot. So I'm actually glad that's like that, where I can show y'all a good example. That one's on its way to breaking too. And actually they've been snapping on that little adapter piece. They ain't been kinking up there. They've been breaking right there. So anyways, we got to do something better than this. I was trying to look, see if there's any rubbing up here. I'm trying to understand why that would kink that. It don't look like it's been. But maybe if this thing's loaded down with like the trailer and we hit good bumps, maybe we're getting up that high. That would make sense, because I'd towed the Model A down to Austin. So I think we're going to be okay. This right here is a good better quality line. That's the technical term. And we're going to put this on there. And then what we'll do is, the only place that could possibly be hitting is up there. Now this one's narrower, so it is going to move it over. And this ain't an adapter. That's a single crimped line. Should be a little better setup. I don't think this one's going to snap like the others did. And when we get this thing back down on the ground, we may have to do a little clearance on that top plate. Let's worry about getting the new one on for now, though. As you can see, our bolt is right at that coil spring. I mean, there's room in between there, but boy, it's tight. So to even replace that, I'm going to try to remove this caliper here. Even getting the caliper off is tight fit because of this. If you've ever heard the term fitting 5 pounds of crap in like 1 pound bag or whatever it is, that's this. That top bolt will slide right out, but to get that bottom one, we need to get the air out of our bags. Now we can just push them old floppy, saggy things out the way. Now we can pull our caliper off, and now we can do a banjo bolt. Really good one, dude. Just crack this sucker loose over here. And guys, I think the being loaded down is the problem, and it's hitting that plate the more I think about it. First time I ever had a caliper drag and it have issues was I was towing a trailer coming back from the city, now that I think about it. And I think the first time one snapped was right after I'd got home from towing the trailer. Let's go work on the damned old flatbed. Now those lines are All-Star Performance. I read some good stuff about them. And as you can see, I'd got an entire kit. Make sure to get your copper washer off the other side. Now, hopefully that's the same to our adapter that's over there already. Yeah, she's threading on, so we ain't even got to change that adapter piece out. I'm gonna use our new bolt. It's a little thinner there. That other one fits too tight in there. Take our new copper washer, and then bleeder faces up. So this kind of has a pre-form to it just from being packaged. We want to make sure to face it the way it's going to flow the easiest, which is going to be like this right here. So that's going to go something like that. So I'm going to lock her down right there. We're going to go back together and see if this will work for us. Now, speaking of going back together, see our little bushings there for where it slides. Let's go ahead and service those. These ones are pretty nasty. Get all that old sticky crap off there. Clean up our caliper bolts as well, guys. This one in particular had a lot of extra sticky on it. Y'all like how I use brake clean for everything, and now that we're doing brake jobs, I'm not even using brake clean. It looks like a carburetor to me. Get your brake lubricant out. Y'all know the first time I ever seen this stuff, I actually thought it was a joke, because obviously like greasing brakes would be bad. I really didn't know this was real stuff. What you mean brake lubricant? We're gonna just put some fresh stuff here on our little bushings and bolts and everything when we go back together. This stuff's, I guess, pretty high temp. Probably not high temp enough for when I have one dragging the entire time and it gets smoking hot. It's really good to use a nice clean hand while lubing stuff up too, by the way. I've even heard people say you can put it on the back of your pads. Get on out of here before I put a caw up your hind end. Shut him up. Let's live a little, guys. A little grease on there, a little grease on there. Put grease on the front side too. Just playing. We get it back on, guys. With that being a lower profile, little bulkhead and bolt, we got way more clearance right in there than what we had with the last setup. And that's just gonna swoop up and around. Curves into there just fine. So I think as long as we figure out if we're gonna rub up there with this new setup and then trim it out where it can never rub, we're gonna be fine. Yep. Luckily I put a drain pan here, and as y'all can tell, all it did was splash out of there and get all over the floor. Nailed it. Tighten that one up. Now we can hop over to this side. Y'all remember earlier I said something about having ball end? They come in handy. Well, thought I was about to show y'all something cool. Guess not. Regular Allen wrenches come in handy too. This coil's spun in a way where this one wants to hit. I don't want to spin that coil, so we'll get her slow and steady. Yeah. With this side buttoned up, I'm grinding down on that plate. Took off probably 3/8 of an inch, just doing a little taper there. With this parallel 4-link, as this thing squats down and it travels up, it actually pulls that forward. So if our line's right here, there's no chance we're gonna hit anything back there. Some more coming this way. Looks like I did a pretty good job of hitting my line. So I'm gonna round this corner off and she'll be done. Quick little touch up, like it never even happened. Now if we put a straight edge, that fender well sticks out further than that mounting plate does. And that back side, well, that's gonna clear everything. I think she's gonna be G-U-D, good to go. I don't think brake lines are ever gonna be an issue again. Ta-da, just like that, we're at the junkyard. Little teleportation in the situation. Right here's what we're looking for. I know what you're thinking, why are we back on this shaft? Well, driving it yesterday, guys, the U-joints are facing like the same way, if that makes sense. So as it's spinning, I can feel them kind of binding. So we gotta get them in phase, out of phase, some type of phase. It's kind of like a drive shaft. When they're facing the same way, it ain't good. Boy, I should have brought a damn. Well, I should have brought a pry bar, not that. There we go. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Now, we could take that shaft we had built, cut the hollow part of the tube, clock it 90 degrees, weld it back together, accomplish the same thing. I just don't want to cut that and butt weld it halfway down that tube. And we may have to, but let's see if we can make something work with this. So it'll get tricky on this is we got to go from that down to our 3/4 inch DD shaft. This was left over from that piece the other day. I think we could get that pretty stinking centered up in there, and then that'll be real easy to convert that to the DD shaft. Because that fits in there so good, we really don't even have to use that crimped in. We'll weld that. Then weld her around the top. So right here's what we're trying to avoid with our new shaft. On this side, that's running straight in line with that curved side up. So we want this clocked 90 degrees where that would run straight with the flat side. Now because that's not exact fit, I did wrap that a couple times with some tape, hoping it'll help kind of hold her in center like it is. Uh-oh, tape slipped. It was working till it wasn't. Try again. Right there's what we're after. Eagle eye that sucker till we got an even gap all the way around, weld it. Worry about that tape, it'll burn out. Couple plug welds she's ready to clean up and put in. So we let the paint dry on that. Nate Dogg showed up, so he helps pack t-shirts and bleed brakes pretty much. Yeah, how you gonna write that on a resume for experience, huh? That's why he wears them short shorts, for premium pumping power. Go ahead. Go ahead. Got a lot of air that go around, guys, but got fluid quick. The other side's already done. That's all she needed there. Yes, sir. We'll do one more, guys, just because I like making a mess. All right, you're good. Special delivery.
Yep, special delivery, wheels and tires.
What you got there?
Oh.
A little snackity. Got me a little snackity. Let's see what the special delivery is. On the second channel, probably 7 months ago, I showed making the Travelall caps fit these. I planned on going gloss black and tinting the windows, and I just can't do it. That's basically the look we put on the Stout, and after doing it on the Stout, I decided we weren't gonna do it on this one. I still had the 20s and the tires already, so we're gonna try putting a white 20-inch stilly on here and seeing how that looks. Right in time too, because that shaft's installed, and with our brakes good, we're ready for a test drive. Whoa, Bessie. Woo, that fresh white powder coat's bright. Drive that 3/4 ton. What a woman. And I'm not convinced these are gonna stay, guys. That was a spur of the moment idea with the black stillies. I do think the white's gonna look better than the black. The good thing is, if we don't like them, we can pop those right back on with the caps right back on them. Yeah, those are heavy. Snazzy. One thing's for certain, if I choose to keep these, we'll use way less tire foam. All right, fire up, pull her outside where y'all can see her. Some things can pull off the big stillies. The Yeehaw, they're okay on. The Stout, they're okay on. I think these look pretty dang good on here. I think because the body of that thing looks so big that those 20s, I don't know, they just look good, guys. I don't think they look too big on there. I was worried they were gonna look too big. She looks sharp. Let's go test drive it. With the smaller tire, or thinner, you can definitely feel the road a little more. Nothing crazy though. As far as the steering shaft goes, it feels a lot better. It don't feel like clunk, kind of turning. It's smooth again. And Theodore is loving the ice cold AC. Look how much better that looks. That from the washing, from that dent being gone. You may not like the big wheels, but you ain't gonna convince me that ain't a good looking rig. Theo's looking like, what are you doing, Dad? Who you talking to? Golly, sweet Mama Edna. Woo, girl, you make me want to butter my biscuits. Guys, it's so nice seeing that fixed. And then come around here and the emblem and everything, it's just looking awesome again. And I know I don't like shiny paint and I like rusty stuff, but to me a good patina build is having all the stuff on there. All that crap that was missing and tore up, that being fixed. I think we got a damn SEMA truck winner right here. You can come Pot County and see my truck. The truck with no windshield wipers, so we got to clean it just so we can get home. And just so you know, inside there, well, it's colder than a witch's tit in a brass bra, guys. It's freezing. Nothing to do now, guys, besides drive her around a little bit and see how I like it. I think Theodore's a fan. Me and Theo, some back road bandits, baby. I need someone else to drive this rig. There's some type of squeak up around that, like passenger front, but I can't figure out where it is, and I want to get it fixed. And then there's something coming from the very back too. So we've got a lot of the rattles and stuff fixed. So that's kind of annoying me. And that right there. Them keys rattling from that air blowing. I need to do something about that. Boy, I don't know where that damn squeak is, but I'm gonna find it one day. Brakes feel good. Every now and then, like I said before, one would start dragging. I don't think that's an issue anymore. The bag's riding a little soft, and it got to that point where it was a little too soft for me, which is why there's air in the bags. So I probably need to shoot me a little bit of air back in there, let it stiffen up the rear a little bit. This thing just has so much travel that it's like woo. Now doing that, I did hear the tire rub on that side, and that side only, hitting a couple hard dips earlier. So we need to look. It may be something where we even need to actually adjust on the panhard bar and center up. But we need to put our air back in our bags first and then do some check-in. Overall, guys, I'm really happy with how this thing's turned out. And I just wish we could have got our mufflers in time where we could get rid of that blown out muffler. What'd you find? Did you find you some cows to look at? This is actually Theodore's babysitter, some of our church family who takes care of him for us if we've got to pop out of town for a day or two. We've got some family to go see, and they take really good care of Theo. They care about him a lot, always ask about him, and then they take awesome care of him when they have them. So we're very thankful for them and their love for our dog. I'm gonna head into the big city of Earlsboro, America. Can y'all hear that noise? I'd hear that noise periodically before, and I always thought it may have been that brake dragging a little bit. I'm hearing it a lot now, so we may want to hop out and check. I don't think we have brakes dragging though. I don't feel like we do. My others, if it wasn't that, other thing I thought it may be is the rear center section, which maybe it's just a little noisy. It's a factory posi. I put good stuff in there. It's got the royal purple, and that was from before YouTube was even doing good. I had to man up for the good stuff back then. Damn, $28 a quart or whatever it is. We find a good place up here, we'll pull over and fill on them rears, make sure nothing's dragging. Welcome to Earlsboro. No, that's fine. Guys, before that sucker gets so hot, you touch that cap, it just be burning you. That sucker's cool as can be. Cool as a cucumber. This one's as cool as a penguin booty in a butt dragging contest. Want to come this way where we could get her out on the highway and stretch her legs a little bit. Absolutely beautiful day for a drive too. Y'all see that sky? Have any of my Oklahomans who watch noticed the sky's been looking a little different lately? I don't know. Don't know how to describe it. Just looks different to me. Never mind. I've probably just smelled too much brake cleaner or something. Maybe it's these orange tinted glasses. Well, we're back home, and I kept her out driving around for right at an hour, guys. Like I said, I heard that one tire rub once, twice. It was like kind of dip thing, so twice, but from one bad bump. Never again though. I think honestly just running the 15 psi in the bags like I do normally is gonna fix that, because obviously it had to really be hunkered down to get into the tire. So I'm gonna call this a win, guys. I really was not sure if I was gonna like these bigger wheels on here, and I would say right now they're actually my favorite bigger wheels that I have. Second up would be the S10, and then the Yeehaw and Toyota Stout. I'm not in love with either one of them having the bigger wheels. Either way though, guys, I'm super happy with how this turned out. I'm super happy I finally gave myself this week to work on the Travelall, because that is such a good ride. It's and now it's just so much better. Just driving that was so enjoyable. We gotta get mufflers on it, and much other than that, I want to do some type of UV protectant on the windows. I know y'all's gonna say to black them out, but that just takes a while. I don't like the dark windows on classic stuff. It's just not my thing. But they do make a clear film you can put on there that at least helps block out UV, helps like by X amount, 60 something% or something, I don't know. It's supposed to help a lot. What's going to help a lot next is going to be actually getting an interior in it, a headliner to help protect from that heat transfer from that big long roof, and on those door panels and stuff, putting door panels and stuff back in it. puddins.fab.shop.com. Get you some good quality merchandise, guys. Help support the cause. Hopefully we can sell enough in the next month or two that I can get with Top Stitch Taylor, and maybe we can figure out a pretty simple interior we can throw in that thing. And you know, after when I build that, I don't know, 2018, 19, it can finally have an interior in it. So thank you guys so much for being here, all the support over the years. Like I said, puddins.fab.shop.com for all that good quality merchandise. I'm on the Instagrammer, I'm on the Facebooker. I hope you like Edna and her improvements, and much other than that, guys, I'll see y'all in the next one. However, do not forget, sitting on your ass will not finish your project.